When I see that you are both straight and ready, I will start you like this. Attention, go. Get ready, please.
So important for these boats to be dead straight down this course. All the hands are down, which means these crews are ready to get underway in the Wyfold Challenge Cup. This is club men's coxless fours, and Upper Thames will be looking to push hard up to their own boathouse that sits on this iconic course. And what a great start for them, Ken.
Oh, both crews really cleanly away here. Yes, Upper Thames, they're on their home turf, aren't they? But you don't come across some island unless you think you've got something to offer, and that is particularly a great shot there of a very determined start from Shandon here for their first ever Henley Royal Regatta.
Yeah, what a privilege to be in that crew from Shandon, competing in that first ever crew for them at Henley Royal Regatta, and looking pretty level off the end of the island. And this is exactly what we expect from day 3 racing. It gets closer and closer as we progress through the rounds. And Shandon, you know, I've had the privilege of commentating on the last 2 races that they've had, have this lovely settle cap, and we're going to watch them now. Look at the time that they used round the finish here, just to let the boat move underneath them.
So they're both going to be feeling a certain amount of pressure at this point, aren't they, side by side? But actually both settling into their rhythm now, and it's probably going to be the rhythm that's going to be the deciding factor down here.
And what kind of things are you doing, Kath, at this point? You're side by side. It's almost like a game of chicken, right? In that one crew's going to have to settle first. What sort of things is the person who's calling here going to be saying to their crew?
So you're focused in on your own plan, your own rhythm. You've got to get into your best rhythm. You can't actually do anything to change what the other crew is doing. So you really want that focus in on your rhythm, the timing, the relaxation. So as the rate comes down after the start, you need that little bit of recovery in between the strokes. And you can really see that now, that relaxation that's starting to come in. But, you know, you're so aware at the same time of that crew that's just a few feet away. And nobody's giving anything here, are they?
Yeah, it looks like we're in for a real barnstormer here. Upper Thames Rowing Club on your screen now. We're seeing the face of Matthew Cummings in the stroke seat, 32 years of age, setting the rhythm here for his crew, and both of these crews are really gliding. It's lovely to see that they're on a real settle, and they're letting the boat do the work for them.
Conditions a little calmer than we've had the last couple of days, I think. The rain has maybe just calmed things down a bit, which is, you know, giving them some pretty decent water. Some good timing happening in both crews. They're looking very slick, but now there's going to be a move that comes now. You've settled in, you've done your initial rhythm. What are you going to do at this point?
Something just happened there. There was a call from Colm Hennessy in the bow seat. Not sure what he was telling the 3 men in front of him, and often they'll be calling the markers, executing that race plan. And look, they've managed to turn over that deficit.
There's a little bit of a sharpening that happened. Maybe perhaps they've gone up 1 pip. They just tightened the rhythm. Their oars are just locking on a little bit quicker, and that's given them an advantage. But they also know that there's going to be a ferocious roar for Upper Thames when they get to that point of the course. So they probably want to make sure they're applying pressure early. But it's a definite move now coming from the Irish crew.
It's like the home advantage, isn't it? When you go to any other game, any other sport, it gives you that little bit of edge. And Upper Thames will know that in about 500 metres time, they're going to get that lift from their home crowd cheering them on. And Shandon will know that if they've been smart, they'll want to get ahead, so that any increase in speed that comes from Upper Thames, knowing that their home fans are cheering them on, it will only bring them level rather than ahead.
There's a lot of experience in this Upper Thames crew. They're a wily crew. It's their top crew. It's the same crew that was seeded last year, and Matthew Cummings, we can see there stroking very consistent strokes, and they have now put their push in to match what Shandon have done. So they say, right, we see you, Shandon, and we're going to rise you one ourselves. And they're preparing, coming up to their own home turf. Matthew competed at Henley for London Rowing Club and Thames Rowing Club before moving out to Upper Thames. Originally from New Zealand, originally rowing Tone Rowing Club, so a huge amount of experience. And Henley have got their bows in front.
Wow, this is such a great race, and being made even better, I think, from the steering from both of these crews. It's been immaculate so far. So huge kudos to Matthew Cummings in the Upper Thames crew. He sits at stroke with the steering foot. The same for Shandon. It's Stephen O'Sullivan in the stroke seat. They're half a length down, and here's that Upper Thames roar we were talking about.
Yeah, they are. They've got, yeah, exactly. They're starting to push out for length. They've got the momentum at the moment. They are asking questions of Shandon. They have the momentum in that Upper Thames crew. They're on the home turf, and it's feeling good at the moment. But for Shandon, the question is, how do they apply pressure? Starting to look a little tugged in that Shandon crew. Yeah, they're feeling it. They had that great push earlier that gave them just a nudge ahead, but Upper Thames answered it and came back with another push. So all eyes on Shandon now. Have you got another gear?
And it's a quiet time to be asking that kind of question, Kath. You come out of that roar from Upper Thames, from Remenham, and then you're faced with these bushes here on the left-hand side, and not many spectators sit here. And if you just sit and listen, it's deathly quiet, right? So you really got to motivate yourself. You've got to get the crew geared up and ready for that sprint as they move into the regatta enclosure.
Yeah, there was another shout there, wasn't there, from the bowman from Colin Hennessy, saying, you know, gave a call and said now in an absolutely determined voice, and they meant now. So again, they're throwing another push at Upper Thames.
Yeah, Upper Thames, though, a much easier position to be sat there, being able to look back. Shandon here with that little push, it's just affected their steering, Kath, because it's lots of factors to think about, isn't it?
Sometimes if the timing isn't exactly together, as you're getting tired as you give your push, you know, maybe some wash coming across, you know, they've got to be so focused on that steering. I mean, to be honest, both these falls are doing a great job, but there was just a warning there from the umpire, keep these crews apart as they start to get into, you know, a real race now.
Yeah, in these sprinting stages, so you know, you've got so many things to focus on: the power, the technique, the steering, and as you're trying to do all of that, sometimes it gets compromised, and the steering's often the one that does. And so Upper Thames now suffering the same fate and being worn back to their station by Richard Phelps.
What a brilliant race. You know, both of these crews are going to be absolutely on the edge. It's about how much winter training you've done at this point. You've got to keep the technique and you've got to keep your steering straight, but it's what is left in the tank, and they are taking it to each other. Upper Thames, they're still a nose ahead, aren't they? The bows are ahead.
On Upper Thames here now, they've snapped clear water. I think that is the nail in the coffin for Shandon Boat Club Ireland in this Wyfold Challenge Cup, because as soon as that snaps, as soon as you've broken clear water, it's often the way that you've got that confidence to row into the line. Shandon, I think, looking defeated here in these final 10 strokes, but a great row from them through this regatta. Upper Thames, what a wonderfully close race that was, Kath. So there it is, the confirmation. Upper Thames Rowing Club in the Wyfold Challenge Cup will progress through ahead of Shandon Boat Club Ireland.